We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
and I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2219. Today, Jill and I are talking about the top 5 land investment mistakes and how to avoid them. And boy, have we personally experienced them.
That's a good question. Let's see. Can we average? How many mistakes have we made? Well, how many mistakes in 30 plus years of doing this?
I have to tell you, I don't know if I've made that many land mistakes, but I've
good.
made a lot of mistakes in every other area of my life.
Like relationships?
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
Sure.
Let's see. In land, we are really good at it. Relationships, nope. Raising kids, probably not that great. Let's see what else. Personal acquisitions, like cars, probably not great there.
I full-blown failed at term sales. Full-blown failed at selling land on terms. This is 25 years ago.
Or was it just not the right environment?
Well,
There's times to do it and times
You
not
tell
to
me.
do it.
What happened is I hated it. It didn't work. Payment. It ended up being a collection agency,
Understood.
and so I changed my business model, and here we are.
Exactly.
Was that a failure? I don't know.
It wasn't a failure. I see that as a win. You figured out what you were capable of, and you pivoted to something way more profitable anyway. So it all worked out.
Hey, all this week is Jill and I. All 5 days are going to talk about your requested topics, stuff that's really out on the internet that really intrigue people about this business and all the details that surround that. Today, like we said, we're talking about the top 5 land investment mistakes and how to avoid them. Tomorrow, Tuesday, the 24-month millionaire land investor program deconstructed.
You made that like 5 or 8 years ago.
I created this a lot of years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a smash hit then. And I'm bringing it back, but I'm bringing it back with the 10 years of experience or 8 years of experience. So Wednesday, we're talking about the top worst states to select for land investment. Thursday, what to expect as a brand new land investor. And then finally Friday, why land investment is the most efficient way to quit your job.
Love it.
Here's a hint on that. It's so cheap to get into.
There you go.
Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum, take a deep dive into land-related topics by your request.
Okay. Ram wrote, I've received several leads from a pay-per-click campaign that includes lots in undeveloped subdivisions. I usually just pass on these, but I'm curious as to why these lots exist at all. In many cases, the lots were purchased 20, 30 years ago, but it seems the subdivision was never built. Is it really just that they bought the land expecting to build out there someday and it never happened? In most cases, there still isn't any infrastructure at all, just paper streets, like on a map. Any insights? Is there any opportunity with these lots?
So I have a lot of experience with this type of asset. There's a lot of different names for them. There's some are positive and some are really negative. But what really happened in the 50s and 60s in this country, specifically in places where people would travel during the summer or in the off season, whatever version of that is. And people would go out, usually from Southern California, because there's such a real estate boom there, go into a couple of different states, specifically Florida and Arizona and Colorado are states that experience this in an extreme way. A person would buy very large tracts of land and then just redraw a subdivision map, redo a plat map, submit it to the county. They would turn one APN, assessor's parcel number, into a ton. You might take a 1,000-acre property and create quarter-acre properties out of it. And really, it's just on paper. That's why it's called a paper subdivision. There were no regulations. This was completely unregulated back then. And so now the counties have to deal with that. They have to deal with all these APNs and the fact that these properties are changing hands a lot, and they don't like it. And so there was never any intent ever on the developer's part to develop the subdivision. They just were taking a large tract of land, cutting it up, and reselling the lots for very large profit.
Thank you.
Should you get into that business? That's up to you. They're all individually owned by people that have now passed down to their kids and their heirs, and each parcel's got a unique story.
True.
I went in long before Jill and I joined forces professionally and bought these entire subdivisions in the past and would sell them, resell them. We don't do it anymore at all, only because it's not financially feasible for what we do. What we do now is much more profitable and easy and more rewarding and all of that. But it's up to you if you want to have that business. We have tons of people in our group that buy and sell these assets and make a few $100s each.
It just seems like a bummer. They change hands a lot, like you said. It's usually someone gets excited about it. They spot it somewhere. They're back east when it's cold. I'm going to buy this great property in New Mexico or Arizona or something like that, where the sun is shining a lot. They do their homework and then they drive out there and realize there's nothing here, and then they go, now I'm going to sell it.
If you drive on a interstate anywhere in the Southwest or just the western part of the country, you're driving along the interstate and you see a trailer way out there. Somebody still lives there. They have solar panels and maybe a windmill, a small one, a windmill. And then as far as you can see, there's somebody else doing the same thing. That's the paper subdivision. Somebody bought the property and figured out a way to live on it, which I really respect.
I agree.
It prompts all kinds of conversation in the car between us when this happens.
True.
Listen to Jill. True. Top 5 land investments. Today's topic, the top 5 land investment mistakes and how to avoid them. Jill, I think we created our own list.
I know. You go first this time.
Okay.
I'm going to go. You go, because I didn't read your list, and I made my own list. So I want to hear yours first, because yours is very different.
Okay. Number 1, and this is, I would be nowhere in my entire life if I did not do this. So it's not land specific, but I urge you to do it. Have a schedule or a calendar and stick to it. On my calendar for Thursday, which is today, at exactly 1 o'clock, we are scheduled, Jill and I, to sit down and record 5 podcasts. And that's just the way it's been for 8 years, I guess, 8 or 9 years. And that's just how it is. And so if I had got up this morning and let's say had a feeling like I don't want to record today, where would we be? So that's the same thing with, we learn this in
a
school.
movie.
It's the same thing in school. We learn this when we're kids. We have to be in school on time. There's a first bell and a second bell. You can only be tardy for so many times. But for some reason, we all forget that 25 minutes after we graduate from high school.
I forgot first bell, second bell. Do you think they still do that?
They do in the movies. They did when I was a kid. I
wonder if elementary schools and middle schools and high schools still have the first bell, second bell. Man, that sucked. You never wanted to hear the second bell.
I had no problem with it.
No.
I wasn't late. I was either showing up with bells on or just not present, just like now.
Exactly. Nothing has changed. You know what? I'm going to reinstitute the first bell, second bell around the house. I'm going to go, first bell was, here's what we're doing. Second bell is, now I'm serious.
And the third one, and it's a different sound, where we're no longer going to do the activity.
Yeah.
Too much time has passed.
Yep. I just pulled it. Or you know what the second bell is? The second bell, the sound of my tires leaving the driveway alone.
The garage door going up.
Exactly. Bye-bye.
So that's my number 1. You got to have a schedule. Number 2, not going through the education process. And that is something that probably shouldn't surprise anybody. It happens with everything. You get real excited. You join a group like Land Academy. It happens with me even now. And you don't really do the work. You don't watch the program. You don't study. Study like in school. And then have that positive outcome that comes from that. So that's a huge issue, and it's a huge mistake. Number 3, not sending out the freaking mail. This business does not work in any way if you do not send out the mail. That would be like owning a convenience store and opening the doors when you feel like it. Maybe you open them for a couple hours in the morning on Monday, a couple hours on Wednesday, if you feel like it. You're just not going to make any money. It's not going to be a successful business. Number 4, analysis paralysis. It's a certain personality type, and I have that personality type. Will overanalyze something to the point where you just don't make a decision at all, because there's pros and cons to everything. And if you expect things to be perfect and expect things to go your way all the time, you will never do anything, let alone send a mailer out or have a company or be an entrepreneur.
Or have a relationship.
Or you can choose a person who understands your silliness, like Jill and I have reluctantly done, and for some reason it works.
It does.
Number 5, and this is philosophical again, this owning a business and owning this type of business is all about adapting and overcoming. You know, if the first sign of, oh, geez, I got this great property, but I can't find a funder, or anything that could happen that possibly happens in this business model, you're not going to adapt and overcome that, then you're not going to succeed.
No, it's true.
What I see a lot is the if-then mentality. The more the internet is prevalent. The internet is in our lives now, let's face it. Geez, it's in our lives. I never thought this would happen. You know what occurred to me recently, really recently?
What's that?
People who are just coming into business or coming of age, like let's say, I don't know, 21, 22, 23. This is the only internet they've ever known. So they didn't know the internet when it started like we did, when it was just chat groups and dial-up and all of that. So they don't, I think that, you know, and it's not their fault, but there's so much garbage out there.
Yeah.
You know, you spend half the time on the internet deciding what's real, what's not, you know, getting yourself off lists, trying to recreate some algorithm and clearing out histories so my point is, it leads you to, there's a lot of things about the internet that make life easier too. So it leads you to what I call this if-then statement mentality. You know, so we have really recently, we have people in our group coming in saying, what do you mean you don't know exactly how to do this, just like changing a light bulb? What do you mean there's not a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4? I'm printing money. And so that I see as a huge mistake, specifically really recently. Now Jill's going to brighten our day.
Oh, right. Well, this is not exactly the most exciting. I mean, it's not like a positive topic, but this is a good topic. So here are I came at it as a different angle. So these are my top 5 land investment mistakes. And I was kind of going down with some are big picture and some are transactional. Like one of the top 5 mistakes I've watched people make is overpaying for property. They just flat out, you know, they wanted a deal so bad. Maybe it was their first deal. They're like, you know what? We're just going to make it work. And they overpay. And then they get in trouble in the end.
Guilty.
Number 2, no research. They rush their due diligence. They're like, I can oversee that. Or they didn't take the time to do it. You know what? Hey, this looks great. I see it on the map. Everything's good. I don't need to call the county. Whatever it is. And then something comes up later on.
Guilty.
Number 3, they trusted a third party. You know, someone says, hey, I've got the greatest deal. Hey, it's off market. My uncle wants to sell this, you know, fill in the blank. And they're like, oh yeah, it must be great. And they jump in. Bad idea.
Not guilty.
Good job. Number 4, no selling or marketing experience or even trying to learn.
Guilty.
That's so amazing to me that people are like, oh, I got this. I'm just going to put it over here and then wait and see what happens. That's not how you sell things. That's not how you buy things. It's not even going to work. And then my number 5 thing, a big land investment mistake, is just people don't answer their phones. They're not checking their emails and they're not working their leads. This is a very hands-on business. I have to be honest and tell you, this is not a set it and forget it. It's going to work behind the scenes. There's going to be somebody, if it's not you, somebody who works for you is doing the work. And they're calling people back, answering the phone, asking questions, making sure escrow's opened on time, making sure things close on time, wiring money, getting signatures done, you know, looking ahead towards the next area to send and fill in the blank. So you've got to work this business.
So all these lists and all these topics, sub-lists and stuff have one thing in common. You all know this stuff, but we don't do it.
What is the one thing in common?
That's it. We know what to do.
Oh, showing
all these
up,
things,
I think.
all of these things are in the Land Academy program, and most of them, or if not all of them, are very common sense. So is exercising in the morning every day. But how many of us did it? We know we're supposed to do it.
Oh, I didn't.
It's irrefutable
I
evidence
failed.
that your life will be better. It's even almost immediately if you exercise every morning, but the vast majority of us don't. I did not today, by the way, either, for a bunch of reasons, but none of them are good reasons.
Correct.
So we all know what we're supposed to do. How often we're supposed to. And tomorrow I'm going to talk all about this in the 24-month millionaire, because that's how you make $1 million in 24 months, by executing this stuff and just forgetting about yourself. So These are land investment mistakes. This topic was overwhelming. When I asked a group of people, what should we talk about? They all really wanted some version of how does everybody screw this up so I don't do it.
Yep.
So that was kind of it. Join us tomorrow where Jill and I discuss the 24-month Millionaire Land Investor Program, Deconstructed. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.